Myself Padmaja, Associate Professor, Department of CSE, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Now, today we are going to discuss about map, filter and reduce function in Python. So, let us start with the map function. Now, the map function takes a function object and the iterables like a sequence or collection or any iterable object. Now, this function can take more than one iterable. That means we can pass multiple iterables to the map function, but the function that we are passing as the first argument, the function must have one parameter for each iterable. Now, it executes the function object for each element in the sequence and returns a map object which we can convert further into a list or set or tuple. Now, before understanding the map function, first let us see the syntax of map function. So, map, first argument is the function and second argument or a list of arguments, we can pass the iterables. So, we can pass multiple iterables over here. Now, map function will do one-to-one mapping. That means the function will be executed for each and every element of the iterables. Let us see the example. Now, suppose you want to find out the square root of every element of a sequence. Then we can write like this. So, let us first import the square root function. So, you can write from math import square root. After importing, now let us use map function. So, map of sqrt is the name of the function. This is the first argument which is a function to find out the square root of the iterable. So, this part is called the sequence. So, it will find out the square root of each and every element which is present in this sequence or in this list. So, it will find out the square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, 16 and so on. So, the function will be executed for each and every element of the list. Now, after that, the map function is doing one-to-one mapping. The function it is applying to each and every element of the list. So, after computing the square root of every element, the map function returns an iterable object. Okay, it returns a map object, you can say. Now, if you want to print the map object, you can see that the map object is created at so and so location in the memory. So, you will find out where this map object is created. Now, if you want to see the output, that how the function has been applied and what is the square root of each and every element in the list, then you have to convert the map object into either a list or set or tuple. So, in this case, we are converting the map object into a list by using the list method. So, list method is converting the map object into a list and you can see the output of all elements or each element of the list, the square root of each element you can see here 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 and 4.0. So, this is the output. Similarly, you can see another example. Suppose you have a list or iterable. So, this is a list. So, this list contains a set of your strings which are all in uppercase. So, if you want to convert into lowercase, so we are applying the function over here. Now, this function will be executed for each element in the list. So, str.lower is the string lower method that will be applied for A, B and C for each and every element of the iterable. And then the map function is doing one-to-one mapping. That means it is applying the function to each and every element of the list and it generates a map object. So, L is nothing but the map object. Now, if you want to print and see where this map object has been created, you can see that the map object is created at so and so memory location. So, this map object, if you want to see the output of this function after applying into a list, so you can convert this again into a list and you can see the output. So, here we are converting the map object into a list and you are seeing the output that the list elements all are in lowercase. So, A, B, C are now converted into lowercase. So, this is the first example regarding the map function. Let us see another example. Now, suppose I want to pass multiple iterables to or multiple sequences to a particular map function. So, you can see over here. So here we are using the map function. So it will do one-to-one mapping of the function is I want to add. So the add function is available in the operators module. So first we have imported the operator module, import operator, and then we are invoking the add method which is there in the operator module. So operator dot add. So you have written here the module name. This is the module name dot operator. Then this is the function name or method name we have written. Now this is the function, and then to add we have taken two lists. So this is our list 1 and this is our list 2. So I want to add the elements of first list with second list, one-to-one mapping I want to do. That means 1 will be added with 4, 2 will be added with 5 and 3 will be added with 6. So this map function will take one element from the first iterable, applies the function and with the first element of the second iterable. Similarly, second element of the first list will be added with the second element of the second list. So in this way it will be 1 plus 4 becomes 5, then 2 plus 5 becomes 7, and then 3 plus 6 becomes 9. So mapping is doing like this, one-to-one element, the corresponding element, positional element, first index element is added with the first index element of the second list, and finally it is converted into a list. So list of map of the add function is applied to two iterables over here. So finally the output is converted into a list. So you can see whenever you will print the list, you can see the output is 5, 7 and 9. Now let us see another example. Now in this example we want to find out the length of different sequences or collections we have taken. So here our function is to find out the length. So this is our function. In the map function, first argument must be a function. Then in multiple iterables we have taken. So where the first iterable is a list, second iterable is a tuple, and the third iterable is a dictionary. So we have taken multiple iterables. So the length function is applied to all the iterables. Now first it will find out the length of the list, so which is nothing but 3. The length of this tuple is 4. The length of this dictionary is 5. So the length function is applied. The function is executed on different iterables over here, and then finally the output is converted into a tuple. So we are printing the tuple. So we are getting the output length of each iterable we are finding here, and which is stored in a tuple. So 3, 4 and 5. 3 is the length of the list, 4 is the length of the tuple, and 5 is the length of the dictionary. So this way the map function executes. Now let us see that instead of taking a built-in function, you can write your own user-defined function, or you can use any lambda function or anonymous function in the map function also. Let us see how to write a lambda function inside a map. Now in this case we are writing a lambda function, that lambda of x is nothing but the argument to lambda, x is nothing but the argument, and the expression is written as x dot split. So this is the expression in lambda function. So what it will do? So we are providing one string here. So string is a sequence of characters. This is a sequence over here. Now what it will do? It will split character by character, x dot split method based on it will split it character by character, and then it is stored into a list. So map function, the map will apply this function, split function, on each and every character of the string, and then finally stores into a list. So you can see over here that a lambda or anonymous function can also be directly written inside the map function as the first argument. So you can write any built-in function, or you can create your own user-defined function and call it, or you can write lambda or anonymous function inside the map function. So here we have used one lambda function, and that function is doing the splitting of the sequence elements. So here our sequence is a string, so it will split character by character and finally store into a list. So you can see the output is each and every character is splitted and converted, and then it is stored into a list. Now let us see one more example where we will pass multiple iterables, but what will happen if you do not write the same number of arguments in the function. Now, this is one of the important example where we need to understand that we can pass multiple iterables, but in the function for each iterable, there must be an argument. Let us see how. So you can see here, we have in the map function, we have written the lambda or anonymous function. This function, we are passing two arguments over here. A and B are the two arguments, and the expression is nothing but the mathematical expression A plus B. It is finding out the A plus B it is doing. Now, what you are passing? So, for finding the A plus B, we are passing here three iterables or three lists we are passing. But in the function, we have only two arguments. So, it can execute upon only two iterables or two lists. But you have given one extra list. So, this is your first list, list 1. This is your list 2. And this is your list 3. So, you have passed multiple lists here. But 3 lists you have provided. But you have given only 2 arguments over here. So, it will generate error. So, the rule is, if you are passing multiple iterables, then for each iterable, there must be an argument or parameter in the function. So, that is the reason we have provided 3 lists, but we have used only 2 arguments. That's why you are getting error. That error is called the type error. That lambda takes only 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given. So, lambda takes only 2 arguments. You have given A and B, but you have provided your 3 list you have provided. So, to avoid this error, what to do? You have to pass the third argument C, you have to pass. So, 3 arguments you have to write. So, for 3 arguments, you have provided 3 arguments, but you are doing the addition of numbers for only 2 lists. No problem. But the third argument is provided. At present, you have not written any mathematical expression, but you have provided. So, it will compute 1 plus 4 it will do, then 2 plus 5 it will do, and then 3 plus 6 it will do. Okay. So, 3 plus 6 becomes 9. So, it is doing. And the third list is just kept as it is. But for that, there is a variable in the function. So, that's why it won't show you any error. So, if you want, you can write any mathematical expression for that also. But here it is not given. But in the function, that one argument must be there for that iterable. That is an important point here. Now, let us see how to use the map function. So, where the function, the user-defined function, we can define it and then we can use it. Let us see. Suppose we have defined a function for finding the factorial of a number. So, we have defined a function like fact definition. So, definition fact of n. Then, if the number is 0 or 1, then the factorial it returns 1. Otherwise, n into fact of n minus 1. So, this is a recursive code for finding the factorial of a number. Now, let us see that to the map function, we can write our own user-defined function as the first argument. So, map of fact, this is our function. Now, to this function, we have provided one iterable. So, this is our list. So, it will find out the factorial of map function will map. This function should execute for each and every element of the list. So, it should find out the factorial of 4, factorial of 5 and factorial of 6. So, the function should be applied on each and every element. So, that is called mapping over here. So, factorial is finding factorial of 4, that is 24, factorial of 5, that is 120, and factorial of 6, that is 720. So, it is finding out, and then finally the result is stored into a list. So, list function is applied as a outer function to convert the result into a list. So, you can see finally the output is a list over here. So, through this map function, we understood that map function can be used with any built-in function, or you can write any lambda or anonymous function, or you can create your own user-defined function and you can use as the function argument. Now, let us see that one more example for map function. So, here we have created our own user-defined function, new function. That function takes one argument and finds a into a. That number is multiplied with itself. Now, this function can be called, and here we have provided a tuple. So, tuple is one of the iterable or sequence over here. Now, this function is applied on each and every element of the tuple. So, that then it is finding out each and every element of the tuple, and then finally the map object is X is created. X is the map object, and that map object is converted into a set. So set is nothing but an unordered collection. So if you see the output, so 4 into 4 is 16, then 1 into 1, then 2 into 2 is 4, and 3 into 3 is 9. This is the output. So finally here the result we have converted into a set and we have stored it. So these are the different examples regarding map function we have seen. Now let us see the next example, that is the next method, that is called the filter method. So how to apply the filter function over here? Now the filter function also takes two arguments. One is called the function object and an iterable. So you can pass one iterable or you can pass multiple iterables also. So it takes two arguments. One is the function object or the function which you want to apply, and the iterables. Now the function, what it will do? It will filter out all the elements of an iterable for which that function returns true. So that function will be applied on the iterable, and for the function is applied, and it will and if the function returns true, then those elements will be in the output. So the filter function takes one iterable as the input, so at a time, and then it will be applied. So let us see the syntax. Filter, first argument is the function, second argument is the iterables. Now let us see one by one example. So first example is, we have defined our own user defined function called, we are checking that a number is odd or not. So definition is odd, you are passing a number, and that number is odd or not we are checking. So we are returning that if x modulus 2 is equal to 1, then that odd number will be returned to you. Now, so here we are applying this function is odd. This is our function which you have defined. Now this function will be checked on this iterable, that is we are providing a list. So list of elements are there. The function will filter it out which are the odd numbers from this particular list. So you can see here 1 is the odd number, then 3 is the odd number. These are the outputs. So this function is applied or executed for each and every element, and for which element this function is returns true, only those elements will be filtered out. So you can see over here, we need not convert. So this filter object returns, this filter function returns one filter object. So once the filter function is applied, it returns in filter object. So you can see that if you will print, you will see that filter object is created at so and so location. And then which elements are finally the odd numbers, if you want to see, like map function, you can convert into another sequence or list. So you can convert the filter object into a list over here, and you can see the output. So out of this 4 numbers, 1 and 3 are the odd numbers. So you can see over here. So filter function will filter it out by applying the function on each and every element of the iterable, and for which element it is returns true, those element will be there in the output. Now let us see one more example here. Now we are checking that whether a list contains a set of elements. This is a list or iterable. Now we are checking that the elements are alphabets or not. So we are using the built-in method isAlpha. So isAlpha always returns true or false. So if the element is an alphabet, then it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. So here isAlpha is our built-in function over here. So it is a function which is available in string. So we can directly write in the filter str.isAlpha. So isAlpha is the method we are writing over here, or function we are writing. This function will check each and every element of the list. So if it is an alphabet, it returns true. Then it will filter it out that element, and finally it stores into a list. So here A is an alphabet. Yes, it is true. So it will store into the list. 1 is not an alphabet. So the isAlpha method will return false. Then B is an alphabet, and 2 is not an alphabet. So final output contains only A and B are extracted from this list. Now let us take one more example on filter function. So initially we have taken a list. L is the list. Now we have applied over here the function we have written is a lambda or anonymous function. Let us see how it works. Now we have taken a list of elements. 1 to 10 are the elements in the list. Now we are writing a lambda function that x is nothing but the argument to the lambda function, and the mathematical expression we are writing over here. This expression is x modulus 2 is equal to 0. So that means we are looking for only even numbers. So we are identifying the even numbers, we are checking from the list. So this is our iterable, which is a list over here. So directly you can take the list over here, or you define a list and pass the list object. So here we have passed the list object over here. Now on this list, on the each and every element of this list, filter will apply this function that if x modulus 2 is equal to 0, that means if that number is an even number, then it will filter it out and it will finally store into a list. So you can see that now the list contains only the even numbers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 are the even numbers. Now let us see how to apply this on a dictionary also. So how this filter function can be applied on a dictionary. So we have taken here our lambda or anonymous function we have applied over here. So you can see here x1, x2 and x3 are the three dictionaries we have defined. And then using the filter function, so that is a lambda is an anonymous function over here, we are checking that this for the argument d, if x is in d dot keys, so if x is the string, this is there in d dot keys. If it is present in the keys, then that this particular expression will be checked in all the three list of dictionaries. So here x1, x2 and x3 are the three dictionaries. So this method or this lambda function will be applied first on x1, then on x2, then on x3. So in x1, if x is there in the keys, then it will return true. If x is there in the keys, then it will return true. And the filter function is, if it is true, then it will finally store into a list. So you can see here, x is the key, this is the key, and this is the value. So x key is present in x1. Yes, it is true. Then it returns that and stores into a list finally. So in x2, x key is not present. So it will return false. For x2, it will return false. For x3, x is the key that is available. So it will return that particular dictionary and stores it into a list. So finally, the output is a list of dictionaries where x is the key present over here. So it will filter it out. Now let us see another example. Suppose we have defined our own user defined function. So we have defined a function x. So function, so where we are passing one argument called x. So if x is greater than equal to 10, so if the argument which you are passing is greater than equal to 10, then you return that x. Okay. Now we are applying this user defined function on a tuple. We are applying this on a tuple over here. So this function will be applied on each and every element of the sequence. So you can see here, this function first checking with x is equal to 10. So first time x becomes 10. Then if x is greater than equal to 10, yes, it is true. It returns true. So it will filter it out. So it will filter it out. Then it will take x is equal to 2. So which is false. Then x is equal to 33, which is true. Then x is equal to 4, which is false. X is equal to 9, which is false. X is equal to 8, which is false. And x is equal to 5, which is false. So the function is applied on each and every element of the tuple. So for the element which are true, for the function is true for x is equal to 10 and 33, those are filtered it out, and then finally it is converted into a list and it is stored. So you can see here that filter object is created after applying the filter function, and then it is converted into a list and stored. So 10 and 33 are the outputs. Now the same thing, the same logic, we can write it down using an anonymous function also, or lambda function. Let us see how. So filter, we can directly write in one line lambda of x. X is the argument. So the expression is x greater than equal to 10. If this is true, this expression, if it is true, then it will filter it out. So the x is the argument which will take one argument at a time. First time x is equal to 10, then x is equal to 2, then x is equal to 33, then x is equal to 4, then x is equal to 9, 8 and 5, like this. So for each and every argument x, so if x is greater than or equal to 10, if this condition is, this expression is true, then it will filter it out those elements. So finally it will store it into a list, and then the result is displayed. Now, so far we have learned the map function and your filter function. Let us see one more function which is associated with this functional programming, that is called reduce function. Now, the reduce function is also similar to map and filter. So this function also takes one function and an iterable and returns a single value. It will reduce it and then it will return a single value. So this particular function will perform repetitive operation over the pairs of iterables, and this function is defined. This is a built-in function. This is defined in function tools module. Now, if you want to apply the reduce function, then you have to import the function tools module and then you have to use it. So reduce, the syntax is reduce, which is there in function tools module, and first import it and then use it. Then first argument is a function, then it is applied on the multiple iterables. So let us see some examples of how reduce works. Now here we want to concatenate, we want to apply, this is our function which is called concatenation. This function is applied on multiple iterables. Now, to apply the concat function, this concat function is a built-in function present in the operators module. So first import operators. Then if you want to apply the reduce method, then use from function tools import reduce. So reduce is available in function tools. So we are importing that also. From function tools import reduce. Now how this works, let us see. Okay. Now it will reduce to a single one. So you can see here multiple iterables or multiple lists we are providing. The first list contains 2 elements, second list contains 2 elements, third list is an empty list, fourth one contains single element and so on. Okay. Now the concat function will do the concatenation of all the elements which is present over the list. Okay. And then it will reduce to a single list. So you can see here we want to reduce to a single list over here. So it will reduce and it will stored into a list finally. So you can see the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let us see another example of reduce function. Now first import reduce function, from function tools import reduce, and here we have taken the function as our lambda function or an anonymous function. The function takes 2 arguments at a time. X and y are the 2 arguments to the function and the expression is x into y. Take 2 arguments and multiply. So you can see here first 1 and 2 are the, so x is equal to 1 and then y is equal to 2. 2 arguments will be taken, then it is doing x into y, which is nothing but 1 into 2, that is 2. Okay. Then similarly another set of 2 arguments it will take, then another set of 2 arguments it will take, and it will do repetitively multiplication, and finally it will reduce to one single value. So you can see here, so after each element is multiplied with its next element, you will finally see that it is reduced to a single value, that is 120 over here. So this is the way reduce function is applied. Now let us see another example of reduce function. So here we are taking the reduce function, we are applying on 2 examples over here. So you can see first import the reduce function. So from function tools import reduce. Okay. After that we have used here 2 lambda function. In the first lambda function the 2 arguments are x and y, and we have written one expression that x and y double equals to true. Okay. So that means the end operator says that if x is true and y is equal to true, when both are true, then only the output will be true. If x is true and the second expression y is equal to true, then only the output will be true. In the second example, we have written x and y are the arguments. These are the arguments, and x or y double equals to 2. That means this part is true. If this part is true, and the first part may be false or may be true. But the operation is OR over here. So if it is false also, if X is false also, still the output will be true. Okay. Let us see how it is applied on this list. Okay. So what do we want? We want true only. We are checking. So first element is 10. Okay. Then each and every element. So Y is equal to true. So X is equal to 10 is a true number and Y is equal to true. So it is true only. Similarly, next time false. X is false but Y is true. X is false but Y is true. So it is false. Like that. Then it will take 20, 30 and so on. So you can see that for some of the elements, this condition is false. For some of the elements or some of the values for X, this condition is false. So the output is false. But the same example in the other one, it is the OR gate. That is the reason. So for 10 is a true number. So Y is also true. So true or true is true. But second time when X is equal to false, X is equal to false, but the Y is equal to true. If the first argument is false also, if one of the argument is true, then the OR condition is true. So that is the reason it will be always true. So the output will be true. So this is the way reduce function is applied. Now let us see one more example of reduce. So here first we are importing reduce from function tools, import reduce. Okay. Now so in the first example, lambda a comma b are the two arguments. We are finding out a into b. So the two iterables are, first iterable is 1, 2, 3 is multiplied with 0. That means 1 is multiplied with 0, 2 is multiplied with 0 and 3 is also multiplied with 0. So a into b is done. For each and every element of the first list is multiplied with 0. So the output will be 0. You can see here the output will be 0. In the second example, we have written in the lambda function, we have written one conditional expression, conditional statement that if length of A is greater than length of B, then return A, otherwise return B. So here we have taken the string. So first your Sony and Tony. So A is nothing but the string Tony and B is nothing but the string Sony. So it will take the elements like this, pair of elements. So length of A. So length of A is nothing but 4 and length of B is nothing but 4. Both are same. So if A greater than B, A greater than, if length of A is greater than length of B, this condition is false. So if it is false, only B will be there. Okay, else B. So it will store B. Okay. Now B is nothing but Sony. So the output is nothing but Sony here. Then that will be again compared with Ronit. That will be again compared with Ronit. Okay. So in this case, the length of A is greater than length of B. So here A is nothing but your Ronit. So length of A is 5 and length of B is only 4. So 5 is greater than 4. So it will finally store A only. So that A is the single value which is reduced from from this iterable by applying the function, and that will be the output. So you can see here Ronit is the output over here. So thank you so much. So in this video we have learned about the map, filter and reduce function, how it is applied in Python. Thank you so much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.